Spirituality is like just about anything else in your life. Like in your life, when you're done with one thing, the next thing begins. Just like that. When you're done with everything, spiritual process begins. When you, like for example, to come to the basics of life, spirituality is very much like sexuality, in the sense you are 14 and suddenly you know. Suddenly all those little things that meant a world to you as a child, the teddy bear is in the dustbin, you know, the teddy bear goes to the trash can and all the childish games disappear. Now, suddenly you know. Just like that, when a certain awareness arises in you, suddenly you know that little games don't satisfy you anymore. When you became 14, you thought what you were doing till then were petty things. Suddenly you know the big thing. When that big thing becomes a petty thing, now you're spiritual. The so-called big things of life become petty things in your life. Now spirituality arises. There the hormones induced the maturity. Here it's only awareness which can induce this maturity. When you have the awareness to see yourself through the various activities of life, the various compulsions of life, the various longings of life, as simply an endless rigmarole which doesn't really lead you on to anything in particular. You're at it for 50, 60 years and it doesn't move you an inch from anywhere to anywhere. Either you go through it and realize it on your deathbed, or as you begin it, or when you're into it, you realize it, when you still have time on your hands. So, the spiritual process has to begin somewhere. But the longing to go beyond the limitations in which you live is always there. Every little thing in our lives, when we are into it, it seems like it's everything, isn't it so? Every little thing in our lives. From eating what we want, to doing what we want, to relationships and all those things. When we are into it, it looks like it's the end-all of life. It means so much. If we raise a little above that and look at it, suddenly they all become such petty things, you even wonder, why the hell am I in this? So when this question begins to rise, why am I in all these little things stuck like this? Then the spiritual process has begun. Unfortunately for most people, they endure their spirituality unconsciously. I say endure because when you unconsciously seek the highest truth, it's going to put you through all kinds of nonsense in your life. You really have to have a great endurance because it'll put you through everything, through a big breakfast, to a shopping mall, to marriage, through this and that and everything because you're unconsciously seeking some kind of fulfillment. After all, everybody is seeking fulfillment, isn't it? Either consciously or unconsciously is the only difference. When we say seeking the truth, see, truth is not a conclusion. Truth is not somewhere you go. It's not a destination. It is just a living experience. You cannot get to truth. You can never get to truth, but you can become truth. If you drop all your nonsense, you're truth. If you drop all your limitations, you are that. But you can never get there. It's not a conclusion, it's not a journey, it's not a destination to get to. It is just to become that. If you are willing to see life, experience life beyond all the limitations that you have gathered in the process of life, you are truth. Probably the English word truth creates a whole lot of misunderstanding because if you talk about truth, you will have to talk about untruth. So the English word truth doesn't really say it. An appropriate word would be, in Sanskrit language, there is something called as Ritambara. It's called Ritambara, or if one is in that state, it's called Ritambara Prajna. One who is aware of Ritambara is Ritambara Prajna. Rit means that which is the foundation of everything. The cosmic basis of life is Rit. Whatever nonsense you believe yourself to be, fundamentally your life, isn't it? Is everybody life? Okay. Fundamentally you are life. If your life, the basis of life must definitely be somewhere accessible to you, whether it's rooted here or in the sky or in somewhere else, somewhere it must be rooted to that, isn't it? Must be connected. That which is life must always be in touch with the source of what it is. So getting to the very source of who you are is true. It's always there. It is just that it is covered up with the heap that you have gathered in the form of your body and your mind. These two heaps have covered it up. Now the whole effort, every kind of effort that we are doing, either early morning torture that you call as asanas, for those who have never bent their body, those who spent their life on the couch, asanas definitely look like torture, isn't it? Or the death game of trying to hold your breath. Because holding your breath is death, isn't it? But people claim pranayams are life-enhancing.